Howdy folks, welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. It's been 3 days since I did a World of Tanks video. Well, you know, if you don't count the World of Tanks footage that was in Mingled with Jingles on Monday, but still, gonna have to fix that. This is Stazy from QSF. He's in an encounter battle on Sound River, and he's driving the T-62A. The T-62A, of course, being the first Tier 10 Soviet medium tank to be introduced into World of Tanks. It was closely followed, however, by the Object 140 and the Object 430. So, what differences are there between the T-62A and its other Tier 10 medium tank brothers? Well, some of the differences between the T-62A and the other two are quite obvious. Turret armour. This thing has phenomenally good turret armour. It's very well rounded, it's very well sloped, and it's very, very thick. Unfortunately, the hull armour isn't even as good as on the T-54, its predecessor at Tier 9. The side armour is terrible. The gun depression is not good, which kind of limits the ability to make use of that great turret armour. Getting this thing into hold down positions is not that easy. On the other hand, one of the things that you can't see from looking at this tank in the garage is the soft stats that go with the gun and the mobility of this tank. This is a highly mobile, very manoeuvrable. While not the fastest of the Soviet Tier 10 mediums, it is certainly not slow, but this thing just does not lose speed when it turns. It's very, very good handling on all kinds of terrain, and it is absolutely fantastic at firing on the move. The amount which the aiming circle disperses when the tank is moving, when the turret is turning, and after the gun has fired is minimal, and while that doesn't mean you're going to hit every target that you fire while you're moving the tank, it means you're probably going to hit most of them. And even if you do miss, the rate of fire on this thing at 9.09 rounds per minute without a gun rammer is fast enough that you really don't lose much by taking speculative shots at targets while you're closing in to dogfighting range. And despite the evidence that you're seeing so far, the accuracy is also pretty good, 0.34, with a reasonably good 2-second aiming time. 264mm of penetration, and that was absolutely unbelievable. He took a shot in the side and it didn't penetrate. His tracks ate it. He really lucked out on that one. Even a Pershing can easily penetrate the side armour of this thing. 75mm of side armour basically means that if you're side scraping this tank to such a degree that you're actually able to point the gun around the corner of whatever it is you're side scraping around, then they're going to penetrate your side armour. This Pershing, of course, is completely screwed. There's absolutely no way he's getting out of that, not with tanks on two different sides. Ignores the WZ-120 for the minute, going for the E-100, much more valuable target, and the shot did pretty much go exactly where he aimed it, but he kind of snapped it, and it was aimed just at the top of the side skirts of the E-100. So he's got to calm down and start placing his shots with a bit more care. And he's looking for that hold down position, and he does eventually find it. The WZ-120 is never going to penetrate the turret armour at the front of a T-62A, so he's had enough, he's getting out of here. Well aimed shot at the E-100, and of course it goes high and just bounces harmlessly off his upper glacis. WZ-120 frantically trying to get the hell out of the way. Once again, he's angling for shots at the big boys, but he just does not have the gun depression for it, and this is very frustrating when you're driving the T-62A. Trying to find the spot where you can actually make good use, and he's not quite got it there, where you can make good use of this frontal turret armour. Hello, there's an IS-8, and that was a good shot, and this is the spot. He's on relatively level ground, and perfect. Now, ironically enough, while I've been singing the praises of this gun, and it is a good gun, but it's about to start misbehaving badly. 0.34 accuracy. Just watch where some of these shots go. Okay, that one didn't miss the point of aim by much, but it missed it by enough. He's aiming at the lower glacis of the E-100. Nope. That's where he aimed, but that's not where it hit. He's had enough of this. Alright, he's going to kill the WZ-120. Have a look at the shot that he takes at the T-30. Look at this. That wasn't even in the same postcode as where he aimed it. On the plus side, he did bounce the return shot from the T-30. 240mm of frontal turret armour on this tank, and 161 at the sides. But the gun, it just keeps misbehaving. I mean, okay, that shot penetrated, but it didn't go anywhere near where he aimed. And so, of course, he starts getting frustrated and pissed off, and yeah, I mean, that one actually hit exactly where he aimed, but it was never going to penetrate the side armor, not at that kind of angle. Come on, Stazy, calm down. Front of the E100's turret, dubious shot. 240mm thick, but it is sloped back, and with 264mm of penetration, that's not a guaranteed damaging shot. That, however, side of the turret, is. And he's probably going to kill this guy. Yep, no problem, finally. However, it's worth pointing out that despite the shocking number of misses and poorly aimed shots, he's still done 5,300 damage, and he's got 5 kills. And that's all down to the DPM of these Soviet Tier 10 medium tank guns, the DPM, or damage per minute. None of these tanks do an awful lot of damage up front. They don't have great alpha damage. Their shells only do 320 average damage per hit, but they fire them out at such a monstrous rate of fire that the damage really piles up. This thing will fire 9.09 rounds per minute, with outfitting equipment like a gun rammer, like improved ventilation to boost the rate of fire. It's a phenomenal rate of fire on a highly mobile, very, very dangerous tank. And highly mobile is going to come in very, very handy because, well, there are 3 enemy tanks remaining. Somebody's capping. While everybody else was fighting for the kill on the Easy Tiger 2 over there, they're being capped. Definitely by the E100, potentially by the Jagdpanther 2 as well. And this tank is not the fastest of the Soviet Tier 10 mediums, but it certainly isn't slow. This tank will do 50 km per hour, and it'll do 50 km per hour with ease. But where this tank really shines, it's not really so much to do with the raw top speed of the tank, it's to do with the way the suspension handles rough terrain. Okay, E100 spotted, and he's got a lot of health. But Stazy's platoon mate in the IS-7 is taking up an overwatch position on the cliff, so if Stazy gets in there and spots these guys, he's going to have supporting fire. And he has in fact just slapped one right into the E100, and bingo, there's the Jagdpanther 2. He's a one-shot kill, so he kills him. Now he just has to worry about the E100, but the E100 has loaded his gun, and he's seen him coming, and he does put a big, big shot into him. Plenty of support and fire coming in from the hill. He goes for the E100's tracks. Doesn't work. He's got to try circling him. This is where the fantastic ground resistance and terrain negotiation of the T62A suspension comes into play. He does get bloody lucky there. Oh my god, the one place that the E100 just couldn't afford to mess the shot, and he planted it right into the building in front of him. Takes his tracks off, E100 gets his tracks back up again. Look at the terrain he's driving over. He's knocking trees over. He's driving over rubble. But the T62A is able to just keep going where other tanks would practically grind to a halt trying to get over this kind of terrain, and he kills the E100. And that's the T62A for you. It just does not lose speed when it's turning, and its tracks chew up rough ground. Most other tanks would have died there. Well, in fact, he should have died there. But the E100 managed to plant a shot into the single piece of cover anywhere around him, between him and Stazy's T62A. And I think it's fair to say that Stazy's had a certain amount of luck in this game, but it hasn't all been good luck. Admittedly, the E100 should have killed him. 750 alpha damage when he had less than 700 health. He should have died, but E100 panicked, fired a hasty shot, and managed to plant it right into the only piece of cover that it was possible to plant the shot into, instead of killing Stazy. But at the same time, Stazy's gun has been performing shockingly badly throughout the course of this game. So the whole lucky thing does work both ways. And there's the turret front. ST1, not particularly great gun depression, could only hit his turret. 240mm of rounded frontal turret armour? I don't think so. And Stazy's now been able to close the distance on the ST1. He only carries 2 rounds of high explosive anti-tank with 330mm of penetration, but he's damn well going to use it on that ST1 to finish the game in style. And it was a funny old game. It had the potential to go horribly, horribly wrong so many times. He got very lucky at the end, not being killed by the E100 he was dogfighting with. And he got horribly unlucky in the first half of the match with the ridiculously poor accuracy of the shots that he was firing. At the same time, he wasn't really fully aiming a lot of those shots. And yet, despite all that, look at the amount of damage he did. Yep, that's just a whisker short of 8,000 damage done. And he made mistakes. I wish I made those kind of mistakes. Yeah, I could certainly live with making those kind of mistakes and still coming out of a match with an almost 16,000 WN8 rating. So well done, Stazy. An entertaining match, and it must have been incredibly frustrating for you with the way that gun was misbehaving in the first half of the game, but you didn't let it beat you, and you produced one hell of a result. So well done. Thank you for sending the replay in, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.